Hello, and welcome back to my cheese making series. This is episode 2, and I'm gonna make Queso Blanco. As you all know, I'm trying to get one step closer to my goal of being able to throw the ultimate charcuterie party where I've made all the meat, all the cheese, and all the booze. So today is only my second time ever making cheese. Last week I made mascarpone, which is how the internet says you're supposed to say it. And I put that in some banana bread and it was delicious, but tasted super naughty. So this week I'm gonna make Queso Blanco, but before anybody starts coming at me, I just wanna say I'm using the recipe from Mary Colin in this book. I know there's a ton of different ways that you can make Queso Blanco, and depending on where you are in the world, you might be saying to me, oh, Colin, that's not Queso Blanco, that's more like halloumi. Yeah, there's a ton of cheeses that are super similar to Queso Blanco around the world. They're all called different things, and they use slightly different techniques, and wow, that was loud. For all intents and purposes, I'm going by the recipe from Mary Colin in this book. So if you've got a problem with my recipe or what I'm calling it, take it up with Mary, don't come at me. I'm just the cheese noob, okay? So as far as I know, Queso Blanco is whole cow's milk, just simply acidified with vinegar and then flavored with a little bit of salt in the end. So today I'm gonna be using distilled white vinegar, and I'm not gonna do any fancy advanced techniques like pressing the cheese or anything like that. We're keeping this super simple and making a same day eat cheese. So the first step anytime you make cheese is to get your gear sanitized, and I'll put a list of all the equipment I end up using in this episode, and also add the cheese recipe down below as well. Then we're gonna heat up a whole gallon of milk to 195 degrees while stirring occasionally, just so none of that milk gets scorched. And then once we reach temp, we're gonna pull it off heat, and I'll whisk in 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar to curdle the milk. And you can already start to see a lot of the curds forming. So then I'm gonna cover up the pot and let it sit for about 10 minutes. So I'm checking back in on it, and the whey is still a little bit cloudy. It's not quite clear, and the whey is that like mutant yellow green color. And so I'm gonna add a little bit more vinegar in to try to make sure we get that whey nice and clear and we get all of those curds to form nicely. Then I'm gonna ladle the curds into a cheesecloth lined colander, and I'm gonna let them drain for about 5 minutes. Now I'm gonna go back and flavor the cheese with a teaspoon of salt, and I'm gonna gently toss the curds with my hands to incorporate, being really careful not to break the curds, but this is hard because it's still like burny hot, and so you gotta be super careful. Next, I'm gonna hang the cheese and cheesecloth over a bowl for 1 hour to further drain off any excess whey. I'm gonna save that whey for another purpose later on in the series, so keep your eye open for that. Then I'm just gonna transfer the cheese to an airtight container and eat it within 1 week. All right, it's done, and it's got a super interesting texture. It's just kind of like a very basic, crumbly kind of cheese. It almost has like a wetter feta vibe going on. You can eat this in a lot of different ways. You can just do what I'm doing, some chips, and just go at it and maybe dress it up with some chives and some olive oil. Some people put in butter and stir it up. A lot of times people will use this for frying dishes in place of other kinds of cheeses because it takes a lot of heat to melt this cheese. So if you do like a fried cheese ball or something, this would be a great option for you. All right, without further ado, let's give this a taste. I'm gonna get a big old chunk. It's really good. It's not super flavorful on its own, so I can see how you'd want to mix this in with stuff. I mean, this could be a good base for like a cheese dip, just to get you a basic cheesy flavor, and then you can add like a lot of onion and garlic, make it tasty. Yeah, this is addicting. You could easily eat this whole bowl. Thank you so much for watching as I continue on my cheese making journey. If you like this video, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Cheers.